My name is Chris Hinsz, Director of Product and Solutions here at Fortinet, focusing on our wireless portfolio. I want to take us through managing the RF with FortiWLM, our wireless LAN management platform. So as I put that title slide together and I got ready, I started building up my slides about what this was, and then I did my little dry run to myself and I realized I never actually told them what the heck WLM is. So I put this slide in. So what is FortiWLM? This is our RF manager that pairs up with our wireless LAN controller. And so the controller is very much about controlling the APs, configuration, etc. Wireless LAN management platform offers a lot of RF management features and tools at a higher level for managing particularly more difficult RF environments. And it's really slots across,
Was that the actual WLM, or is that the actual physical box on the screen? Or is it a VM?
It can be also purchased as a VM. VMs, I wasn't able to take a picture of one, so I used the physical appliance. But yeah, almost virtually everything we've got is also available in VM form. So I may not always mention it, but I would say you've got about a 90% chance that it's also available in VM form.
Just not the APs or switches.
Yeah.
Bit hard.
So Chris, you've got the controller, you've got the RF manager,
Yep.
and then the
Access points, yeah.
the NMS is the the Forti something.
Fortinet Manager.
You're talking about Fortinet Manager?
Yeah.
So Fortinet Manager, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so this is essentially optional, or
This is optional.
okay.
So this is really about if you wanted to lay over and do some more complex RF kind of investigations over the top of your wireless,
Yep.
particularly in that FortiWLC environment, you'd put in a FortiWLM. If your situation didn't really need that, you don't have to put it in.
Sure. Thank you.
So, I mean, I know I'm violating deliberately going against your blog by admitting that, but I should be telling you that no, you always need this. It's another thing, go look at it. But no, it has value, and certainly in complex RF environments, people get a lot of value out of this. But if you're, say, a small shop, dozen APs, you may not see a need for it. Other people in a crazy situation, maybe downtown area where they got tons of overlap and stuff, might.
Forti, fair enough.
There you go. So our functionality is split across four main areas: network, service assurance, spectrum, and wireless IPS. I'm going to do a very light touch because this actually is where we have the demo. We have a quick demo of WLM because we did our other silo of wireless management last time when we talked about the FortiGate and kind of that style of our wireless management, but we didn't do anything for our controller style. So I'm going to touch on it lightly. That doesn't mean don't ask me a question, but it does mean there may be more in depth when Venkat comes over and does the actual demo of it. So the network manager portion really has a bunch of different kind of pieces. It's going to pull a whole bunch of information. I can see hierarchical views. I have a dashboard, of course. How could I not have a dashboard? You always have to have some sort of dashboard. I can click on those things to drill in. I do have the locate capability. I mentioned that earlier as a capability that's built into WLM. I can see anticipated coverage based upon what I know the signal strength that is configured for those APs are and where they are on the map and the sizing of that map. I can also see some trending over time. So I think I put the throughput, I have the throughput graph up, but I could also see number of stations. And I think Wireless Jim has a couple times, I think he wrote a blog about it, didn't he, where he was able to spot, just looking at his throughput trend, that something was wrong because it wasn't the usual shape that he usually sees. I think that was a Jim blog, if I remember correctly. So we do have some of that trending information available as well. Service Assurance Manager, I gave a call out to briefly last year. This is the idea of utilizing an AP to act as a virtual client, have it kind of attach back into the network and run whatever kind of performance things you want it to run to make sure the network is functioning the way you do. I can schedule those to run or do them on demand. I can be notified with the results every time, or even better, I can say never notify me unless one of the tests actually fails. So I don't care how many times you've run it over the course of a week if not everything passed.
Is this something that the third radio is going to look at doing, so you're not taking one of the radios offline to...
Yes, that is actually, that is definitely something that a third radio has large benefits to, because it does mean that I do not have to bother one of my data radios. So this is a place where tri-radio has further benefits for us, definitely. I can leverage some of the spectrum capabilities that are in the radios, so I can give you ideas about what interferer events are happening, channel utilizations. I can even do spectrogram views, etc. So I have a lot of RF information that I can provide directly at that RF layer. And I'm not going to claim that this is IPS at like a FortiGate level, but we do know that there's plenty of IPS events that happened actually at the RF level. And those things don't always necessarily even make it to the wire. So they're not something that you would ever know only looking at an IPS system that's on your wired side. So we do have the wireless IPS as well, so that you can catch those events, be aware of them if somebody is doing something untoward. So I do want to talk a little bit about FortiWLM 8.5, because this is where I acknowledge that I just lied to you. We're actually now adding support for the FortiGate. So as of 8.5, which will be coming out this month, we will now have the ability to also pull information from the FortiGate and offer some of these same features and functionality against the FortiGate within FortiWLM. Now, is every single thing going to be available on day one of release? No. The biggest challenge for us, quite frankly, is like things like the Service Assurance Manager, since that takes control of a radio. But things like Fortinet Manager are expecting radios to be doing things. There's some back and forth and some nuances we need to make sure is fully ironed out first. So yes, this is starting a little bit small. Most notably, anything where we can just cull information and make it and display it for you in a nice fashion, that's low-hanging fruit. We're going to knock all that out, and we're going to continue to build the parity as quickly as we possibly can. Because our goal is that you would barely notice the difference when you move between the two. We know in this first release that won't be the case, but that is where we're going to. And that's actually why I have Venkat here. He's going to take us through a demo. He's going to both show you the WLC side so you can see some of these features in action against something that's fully functional, but he's also going to prove out that this works against the FortiGate.
So this is the main dashboard when you log in. So the dashboard has a network summary. It will give you all the details about the stations, access points, and the summary of the health of your network. You can also look at the topology view. You can look at the memory and CPU utilization, traffic, and you can also drill down to the map on the main screen. So going back to the different features on the WLM, you have what is called the location service, then you have the network manager, then you have a spectrum manager which gives you all the spectrum details, then you have a service assurance manager which can create a baseline for your network, you have the wireless IPS tab, and then this is your health dashboard. So coming back to the main dashboard, you can configure the controllers, access points, and switches on this screen. And these are the different things you can do. You can look at the service control, you can look at the various applications, you can look at the VPN configuration, Ethernet, and all different services. The operator menu is about adding new controllers to your dashboard. You can upgrade all your different controllers on the network. You can configure the map, and you can also do diagnostic and syslogs in this menu. The reports allows you to create and schedule reports, run your PCI test, and get the PCI reports from here. The administration is maintenance of the server, the licensing, and other security details. So you can also do packet capture for any wireless network interface on this configuration. The AP group, so when you have a issue in your network, you're looking at a particular access point or a station, you can directly click on the stations here, which will take you to the station table. And if you know, you can filter, search for a certain MAC, and if you click this particular station, it will take you to the stations tab here. And you can drill down to the station and look at a history. You can create a profile for this station, and you can monitor it for a certain amount of time. You also have an option of going to the settings here, and you can change the station that you want to monitor. Or you can also add the history, the throughput, or whatever different widgets you want to monitor on the screen.
How often do you pull information from the controllers?
The default is 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yes, but it can be set to 1 minute, and you can set it to 10 minutes, yes.
And is this pulling information is it just SNMP pulling the controller and aggregating and
Correct.
everything together? Okay,
Correct.
gotcha. Okay.
Plus, we also have APIs to get the information from too. And then we have the AP group tab, which lists all the different access points in the network. It shows the utilization, retries. You have this tab of setting what you want to see. I have set the utilization, what I want to see. If it matches any of this, it will show the data. If the data is not showing, then that means that you're not hitting any of the thresholds that has been set there.
So your channel utilization numbers, I know that you all used to integrate Spectrum Analyzer into your APs. You guys had the SI model of APs some time ago. Is that still the case, or are you pulling that from the Wi-Fi radio?
We are pulling it from the Wi-Fi radio.
Wi-Fi radio, okay, so no more Spectrum Analyzer built into the APs?
We have radios in the sense. This is from the access point, which is acting as a spectrum.
Right, but y'all used to actually have the band speed Spectrum Analyzer integrated into the SI model of APs,
Yeah.
right?
Band speed stuff is very
No longer the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all Wi-Fi
Just
radio
Wi-Fi,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
Can you go back a couple
Yeah, sure.
pages?
On the stations.
Just like back in the browser, I thought I saw it showed SNR or something.
Oh,
On the right hand side, it's like a big number, is like 47.
If you're on the station tab at the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so SNR on that right side of the graphic is not measured in dBm. It's dB.
Okay, yeah.
So what would be the advanced RF features that this would provide?
Sorry.
No, I said, what are the, can you show us the advanced RF features that this, the WLM
Yeah,
would
on
provide?
the spectrum, if you go back to,
So for example, the advanced RF features that we'd be talking about, we don't have another platform that will visualize, for example, the spectrum data.
Okay,
We do not have another place that will visualize the Service Assurance Manager, for example.
okay.
So while the capabilities are in the AP, this is really the home that can visualize some of those functions that the APs are capable of,
you
which is
can-
also a reason why we wanted to extend it to the FortiGate.
So you can still configure it on the FortiGate or on the controller, but this is just a way to visualize and consolidate everything.
This would be, so if you initialize, say, Service Assurance Manager, it's going to be initializing and figured from here.
Okay,
And it will push that down to the controllers that it's managing
Okay.
to make sure that those APs do it.
I just saw that using Flash. Any plans to get rid of Flash?
Yes, there are.
there are plans.
That's been a harping point of mine for a while now.
So this is the radio that has been configured as a spectrum, and it's been placed on the map location. So it will give you this information if you drill down to the particular access point here. So it will show this. let me go drill down to the access point. Yeah. So it will show all the devices that it sees based on the RF. Additional information such as the spectrogram, you can look at this tab and you can get a live field of feed for this. You can look at the channel utilization, which is again the live feed at this time. You can do all of this.
How did you figure out that it was a baby monitor off of a Wi-Fi chip?
We just say baby monitor, Keith.
That's actually an
Baby
identification that
monitor,
comes.
microwave oven, Bluetooth.
Hey Keith, that's actually an identification that will come straight from the chipset for us.
For us.
Whose chipset?
It's Broadcom's, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the band speed stuff now built into the Broadcom radio.
Broadcom. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then going back from the spectrum, I'll hop onto the
Looks like it's set up
SAM.
5 microwaves.
So the Service Assurance Manager allows you to create a network baseline. So you can create a baseline test. The baseline test can be created for throughput or connectivity or voice. And once you create this, you can schedule it to run every week or every day, whatever is required. And this will give you a dashboard, and it will show you the results of what the network is. You can also look at the trends of under the trends, what happens, what is the change in the network.
Something that baseline, is that just taking a baseline of what's currently in the network, or is it pushing a test to baseline?
You can do both. So if you go to the baseline test, you have an option. Let me go down to the test, for example. Okay, let me create a new one, which will show me, which will give you that tab. So you can do something called a measure. You can measure what the current state is right now, or if you know the values, you can set that and create a new one. So if you go to the baseline test, so go to baseline test, they add. So here the baseline type, you can say configured, but you know what the latency is, should be, and packet loss should be. But if you're doing a measure, you can do a measure and let it run. So it will run and it will tell you that this is what the current state is. You can use that as a baseline and then use that as a scheduled test. And then you have the option to report and notify.
Any machine learning or anything to
Not right now.
to scale that over the course of a month or a year?
Not right now. Then you have the option of creating the reports and setting notifications. Then the last option here is the wireless IPS. Under the wireless IPS, like Krish talked about, you can configure the WIPs, and there are predefined signatures. You can enable those signatures and assign it to the access point. So if any of this is detected, you will see that under the monitor. And again, you can create reports and look at all the reports that are available on the screen. You also have like a quick health dashboard, which you can look at the overall network of what are the access point status, station health, and the security. You can also pull the application visibility when you go to the networking center. So if you look at monitor and look at the application summary, it will show you all of these different applications that's detected. You can further block applications or do a bandwidth limitation and coloring and apply for each applications that you can do. You can also look at the location of the clients under locationing. So if you select location and the site. Select, if you have multiple locations, you can select the floor and it will show you the Wi-Fi and BLE devices that are there at this location. So you can hover over each of these, which will show you what this device is and all this.
So you're using Wi-Fi or BLE to locate?
We have both.
You're using both?
We're using both. So it depends on the access point that you use.
The access point.
So it can do. And on the map, I wanted to show about where you can import the images from your FortiPlanner, and I wanted to show that. That's under operate under map management. So here you can add different maps. You can import it from our Fortinet FortiPlanner, or you can get this from your regular JPEG image. You can download your image and look at all the access points that are here, and it will show the details and place them here. The RF planner also should give you some details about signal strength and all this mapping here. This is all the different features on the WLC. If you are looking at managing a FortiGate, you just have to pick the FortiGate from this drop-down menu. So if you go to the FortiGate, you will see a list of FortiGates on the network. Let's go to the Network Manager. So there are 5 stations and 4 access points. You'll get the similar dashboard under FortiGate. Currently, we have all the monitoring from the FortiGate that we can pull. So you can see all the different applications that are running on the FortiGate that's used by the clients connected to the FortiGate access points. You can go to operate, and then you can do the similar map management, controller groups. You can look at the syslog, station activity log. This inventory will give you all the access points in that building. You can see how they are connected, and you can drill down to each access point from here to see what the detail is about this access point. Similarly, you can go to the network summary and you can drill down the stations, and you can go to a particular station, drill down further into a station and get more details on the different applications and different details. Again, you can modify what you want and change all of this. Add new widgets, enlarge. Similarly, you have the licensing, user management, and you can also do your WLM upgrade and also schedule upgrades for all the FortiGates and FortiWLMs.